We have some coffee. I hope all of you have your coffees good and ready. Got a few things to go over today. Let's see how everyone's been. So, before I go any further, first of all, before I even say anything, I just want to congratulate, and you guys know who you are, especially if you're watching this in the future, or if you've just done this and you haven't told me yet. I want to congratulate all of you that have just found a version of funding. This week alone, I've gotten about five or six messages with certificates and brand new funded members, which is amazing. I've congratulated a few and have welcomed them to the beautiful little golden group or purple named group role here in the mentorship. So congratulations to you guys. I have a few more that I have to do. I'll probably do them after this webinar because I just wanted to wait until, well, I want to give people that succeed and find their own and find the things that they were looking for, their little time of congratulations from everyone else, right? I think it's very important. So it's been an amazing week for that. And I think as I was reading the Zoom chat this morning, someone else just got funded as well. So what's up? Just reading right now through the chat at 10:57 a.m. or so. What's up, guys? Did you have a good week? So Marcus says he just got funded with Ment. There you go, man. Congratulations. It's an amazing thing, dude. You should be very proud. Now, again, it's only half the battle getting funded, or it's even a quarter of the battle getting funded. Let's be real with everyone. Actually, you know what? Let's make it even more honest with everyone. Not only do most people in this market lose, but getting funded, quote unquote, is 1/100th of the actual battle, right? Retaining your accounts, following rules, retaining consistency is a whole nother animal, right? And of course, it can be done if the achievement of the funded account was done through that lens initially, because as a lot of us know, and I've been here and you've been here, there are a lot of people that will get funded and lose their accounts. I have done it personally. There will be people that get funded, because I think that's the only goal that they should have, and that if they do that, they've proven to themselves they're a trader, and then lose their accounts. Point being is, if you get funded through a lens that is not rooted in what it actually takes to be a trader, right? Following your rules, proper risk management, taking the proper risk, not getting emotionally intertwined in the moves that are happening, not feeling like you need to be part of the market at every point in the cyclical move of the market. If you're doing those things, and that's the lens through which you got funded with, you already have your risk of ruin prior, you know how much you're going to risk, everything that comes with it, and you get funded, you are not 1/10 of the way there. You're probably like, I would say, 3/4 of the way there. And really the last quarter is just not being stupid about what you're doing. But from the other lens, if the way through which you got funded was rooted in some consistency and some inconsistency, or in worser cases, a lot of inconsistency, this is where the thing that I discuss a lot comes into play in a bad way, where being rewarded for being wrong is infinitely times worse than losing for being correct, right? And you guys know this because of the way that I tend to teach. And if you're brand new, then you guys are going to learn this very quickly. But the way that I've always taught is that we as traders don't judge ourselves based on losses. We don't sit here trying to learn from our losses or any of this kind of bullshit that you see across the board from other mentors. Instead, we understand from an outward lens how important wins and losses are to an entire system, and that the only way that we make money in this market is by simply taking proper losses, or taking quote unquote good losses. So it goes to say this thing where even if you win a fuck ton, if you hit a lottery, if you hit the one-off funded account, if you hit the one-off 200K funded evaluation, get flown out to Dubai, get to do an interview in the funded room and talk to everyone about how you made 200K, it is infinitely times worse than taking a 10K loss for doing something correct, taking a 100K loss for doing something correct. And it sounds like it's probably cliche or whatever, and you probably have heard this before. If you haven't, then good thing you're hearing it. But there's a reason that most people stay stuck, and it's because a lot of their thinking relies on that kind of logic, and it might just be in a different sense, right? So instead of a funded account, it might be something else, like I have a goal to make at least 2% a month. And if they find a way to make 2% a month, even if they fucking destroyed every moral, traded the worst markets, the worst context, but they made the 2%, I've done it well. I've reached my pinnacle, I've reached my truth, and I'm able to now make money. And as a result, that same kind of thinking ends up leading to destruction. The same thing happens with funded people. So for all the people that are funded, on one hand, congratulations, but on another hand, don't forget that the the battle, the game is not over in any way, right? You are very likely 3/4, 4/5, right? A very high end of the way there, but it's on to you now to follow those rules that you had used to now get funded, to continue following them, to not get taken aback by what markets may be doing. And that actually brings me to one of the things I wanted to talk about today, which is that a lot of you might know, for some people it was a great week. For some of you, based on where you might be trading, it might have been a slower week. For me personally, it was a much slower week. A lot of moves that I'm normally used to seeing weren't happening they weren't happening in the kind of circumstances that I would want to see them in. None of the setups that I wanted to see occur based on what I was drawing out or looking at ended up playing out. A lot of things just kind of went sideways. I didn't take a lot of losses. I took 1 win, 1 loss, so I'm perfectly fine there. But in this kind of situation, for my trading, the markets have felt more quote unquote unclear. And what happens in these scenarios, no matter what your goal is, and you guys will, a lot of you might be able to attest to this, especially those of you that got funded. So Marcus, Dan, I know you guys, because you said it right here. I know Dan's funded. I know Mark has just got funded. So those of you that are funded can maybe talk about this a little bit because you've been through a lot more of the process. When there are more unclear markets or a bias, a context starts getting a little bit less easier to trade, things start to go a little bit more sideways or move in a way that you aren't anticipating, or make moves before you're able to get in ways that you're not anticipating, etc. What tends to happen, from what I've noticed, from what I've experienced, is that you start feeling like you're losing something as a trader, like you've lost that edge that you had before, right? So if this was your edge and you're doing amazing, and then all of a sudden you're in this kind of week and everything that you might have taken, even if you did take it, would have ended up in just an instant loss, an instant loss, tons of instant losses, all this stuff, or you're just not able to touch anything. What happens in those moments, right? Because if you're not doing any backtesting at the same time, or looking at other price action that's not to do with the time that we're in right now, what happens is you start to doubt every element of what you know. And I've seen this happen to many other people where, if a market's no longer clear, and here we are on gold, a lot of you can get very suckered into or tunnel visioned in. Oh, Hosey as well got funded, so congratulations to you, buddy. A lot of you can get tunnel visioned in and focused on something like this and then the potential loss that it may bring. So personally, when I look at this, right, I know that yes, there is a potential entry that you can take on this to take long. However, for me personally, there is never an entry here. If I'm ever taking an entry here on gold for a long, I'm waiting for this thing to come down like so, probably come up, and then maybe set up something along the right-hand side of the price action here. However, if you haven't for maybe a week, 2 weeks, done any proper, let's say, backtesting or data collection, and you've just been watching a market like this that hasn't been doing much and hasn't given you much opportunity, then what's going to happen is if this starts to move, you're going to start thinking that you missed out on a good move, even though, because the ICI was clear. Or, even worse, you might even take this long. So I would never take this long, but you might even take this long, and then it might start failing, and it'll start doing something like this, and all of a sudden, you might even take this long, and it'll start failing. Maybe you'll even take this long, because you're like, oh my god, it's an ICI, and then it starts failing, kind of sidewaysing, and then maybe even falls off, right? Gold can easily do this. Now what's going to happen is a huge part of you is going to truly think that you've lost every sense of an edge that you had. You're going to think that you've completely forgot all course, all concept. You need to go through the course again. You need to pay for a new course, whatever it might be. What happens is, if you're not consistently practicing something, using past action, thank you, Woodont. Thank you. Appreciate that. If you're not practicing something, or you're not aware of what you're looking for consistently, and then it's not happening, well, that feedback is going to end up causing negativity in yourself, right? You start to truly think that, holy shit, I don't know what I'm doing. And this is very prominent, and the reason I'm talking about it right now, on people that just got funded, or people that just found themselves winning, or people that just found themselves on a live account. So a lot of you that have seen all these amazing results and you're like, damn, I can do so well, and it's all done in backtest, so you know it's not hindsight, you know that you're doing the thing right, but then you show up with your new funded account, or your new live, or you're now on a live market, all of a sudden, it can truly feel like you've lost all sense of edge, you have no idea what the fuck a concept is, because now it's going to take a lot more than those few seconds for something to play out, and those few seconds for you to skip a month of price for it to be in a good spot. You need to be able to take a step back and say, this is that moment where I, as a trader, actually don't have an edge. I don't know what the fuck price is going to do here. It's moving in a way that if I try to enter this, I'm likely going to take losses over the long run, right? So if I look at gold right now as me, Anton, personal trader, because again, some of you had an amazing week this week. I just want to remind you that. Just because I have a week where I'm like, holy shit, I don't know really what's going on. I don't really like the markets at all. Some of you had a fucking amazing week. And now hearing me say something like, my week wasn't so good, you might be like, oh my God, did I trade bad price action when Ment wasn't trading it? Oh my God, my money is not deserved. And it's like, no. You've done it all right. You've waited for a context that makes sense for what you do. You've tested these moments, and there's a reason that now what you're doing is making you money, and hence why you're now funded, right? 5 of you, 6 of you got funded, right? During a week where I'm like doing nothing, basically. And maybe it's because I'm just not looking at the right markets, right? Because remember, guys, there's thousands of markets, and I'm spreading out into more stocks and stuff too, but these are all the markets I've just had like a watch list on. There's plenty of them out there. So contexts and markets can become unclear, and when you go live or when you start funded, all the fun stuff that comes with, trading live and trading real funds and, all the stuff that comes with your own responsibility of doing that. There are going to be times, actually more of the time, where there's not a market for you. The market's not there for you, right? This comes back to the quote that I made during the premium workshop, which is that you're not here to be the market, you're here to take your edge out of it. And I really want that to sit with you because, well, most of the time, the market is the market and that's it. And if you're trying to be it, you're imposing randomness onto it, which means that you're going to get random results instead of waiting for specific moments that you're used to seeing, right? For instance, like this ICI here that I wanted to take, but I missed it, right? And it was a little bit uglier too. But the point being is that I've been here and you've been here, and some of you might be here, where as price slows down, as there is more e-liquid sessions, let's say, into these holiday months, whatever it might be, as there are contexts that are not as tradable, as there are markets that aren't delivering the way you want to see them deliver, you are going to feel like you've lost all your edge. You don't know what the fuck you're doing anymore. The MBs don't make sense. The way price moves makes no sense. And then you start tunnel visioning in. You go, oh my God, but what could have I done? Fuck. Maybe if I took this one, I could have gotten a little bit of RR and then gotten break even. Oh my God. And you start forgetting the context, the markets, and the kind of situations that you even should be looking to trade in. And instead you start tunnel visioning on stuff that does not matter in any way. So this is a reminder that there are slower weeks. And personally, I had a slower week. And during slow weeks like this, if you're not at a point where you're very experienced, you are very, very likely feeling like you're losing the touch. Like you need to catch up with 100 more hours if you want to ever feel the touch again. But the reality is you don't. What you do need to do, though, is you need to, once again, get used to what? The stuff over there. Not the stuff here, the stuff over there. Get used to the markets that work. Get used to the concepts, the setups that were actually good for your system where you make money, and get used to seeing them so much so that when you look at them and get used to them and go over to the right and you go, is this setup anything like this setup? You instantly can go, no. So as a result, there's no reason for you to be worried or to feel lost at the fact that this might go up now and you might miss the move, or come down and you might get stopped out a bunch of times because there's nothing to take in the first place, at least for my system, right? If I'm entering, let's say, a trade like this one, and then I compare the two, let's ask ourselves, again, the factors that made this trade good. What happened? What were the, let's say, MAs doing at that point? What is the range that we're in? What does that range look like? Do these ranges look the same in regards to where this setup is versus this setup is? What happened before this setup from a standpoint of intermediate price action or back and forth price action? Is this setup the same as this one now in regards to that prior price action? And very simply, very quickly, the answer becomes no. But that only becomes evident because we've done the work where? On the left side of the chart. Not just of one market, but of, hopefully, thousands of hours of thousands of markets. Okay? And this is how you create, quote unquote, that experience, that thing that seems so far-fetched, that thing that seems like it's in the clouds and you can never reach for it because the mentor just makes no sense that he just says, I know the way the market wants to move, right? And then your mentor sends from last week, if you guys remember, then your mentor sends exactly what he's looking for and it ends up happening. And you're there like, this guy is hiding something. This is using an order book. That's what's happening, right? And no, all that's happening is I've done the work here and I'm waiting for that to be done here. And if it's not done, if it's not moving the way exactly that I've studied for it to move, well, then I'm simply on the sideline. And I'm not going into the deep tunnel vision of, holy shit, I've forgotten how to trade. I can't do it. Because a lot of us are going to be there, especially when the market gets slower, especially when huge red news hit and everything goes crazy and you start trading those ranges and you're like, I gotta fucking do it, right? A lot of you, Jay, if you guys remember this whole news day, a lot of you during this time here, if you did trade the price action in here, might have felt this. And if it was you, please tell me, because if you remember, this range was a scary one. It was a crazy range. And then after that, we were in this range for a long time. And a lot of people started to trade the price action in here. And when they got wicked out, which is very likely due to the context of the market, some people truly sat with themselves and went, holy fuck, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't really know how to trade. I'm losing the edge. Is there an MB? Is there an intermediate? But they're forgetting what's going on. What have they been looking for and what's happening? It's very, very important that you kind of do this work prior, because otherwise, when you're on the right-hand side of price, on the live-hand side of price, and price is here, and you're just trying to get in on any new, let's say, impulse, or any new MB, or any new SSE, well, the very, very likelihood is that you're going to take a lot more wick-out losses or break-evens, and it's going to lead to, actually more losses probably, because this market doesn't even let you break even, because it just kind of makes a small move and then fucks off, right? What's going to happen is you're going to start to truly doubt your system, no matter what that system is, right? And it doesn't matter whether you're on the charts in terms of candlesticks or sitting here with an order flow DOM footprint looking at the orders that have come in here, because no matter where you're getting involved now, you're going to experience the same problems, right? And as you experience them, you think, holy shit, this doesn't work. I need to look at the candles. I need to look at the higher. I need to do this. But it's like, remember what happened. Remember where you are. What is this move likely doing? Is it likely just ready to trend, or is it absorbing a move of a range that we've been in for, what, like a few weeks, right? Yeah, for 14 days. So when people started trading this part, like, of course, it's gonna get really scary. Anton, you definitely don't like the DOM theory, do you? It's not even that. I don't like most theories. It's just that whatever's most prevalent at a time, at the moment, being the DOM, right? Everyone's marketing the DOM now. Everyone's selling the DOM. Again, it's a more lower time frame thing, and if it works for them, then phenomenal. Have fun, right? Be my guest. But yeah, exactly, Dan. It'll be something next year. Next year, it's going to be the AI tool that's above the DOM. It takes the DOM into account to make a brand new delta of the AI that shows. It's like what you're forgetting, that like none of these things matter because it's in front of you. Right? Don't worry. If you've never heard of it, just ignore it. Don't worry, guys. It's all useless. At least in my book. For some people, it works. So, good luck to them. SSC is the best. So, yes. That's one of the things I wanted to discuss today. Let me delete that note that I made. Unclear markets. Starting to feel like you don't know what you're doing. This is normal. Don't allow that to affect you. Remember to study the left-hand side of price and get used to it, right? Moments like these, on like UJ, these are moments where many people that are kind of newish or even intermediate will be taking a lot of losses and starting to feel like they've lost their edge. Why? Well, because they want to keep trading it, right? And they're going to see setups, because setups can be seen at any point. Guys, give me a random stock right now. Random stock. One stock. Let's go. Roblox. Okay, perfect. No more stocks now. Okay, Roblox. What are the odds, guys, that you think within the last 100 candles, there's an ICI to the top side and bottom side? Both ways. Yep, 100%. That's correct. All right. Ready? Here's an ICI to the top side, Here's an ICI to the bottom side. Here's another one to the bottom side. Here's another one to the bottom side. And that's all within 49 bars. Okay? Great. So it's happening fucking everywhere. And if you're trading it just because it's happening, well, you're going to get the most random results you can possibly imagine. So if you're trading improper contexts, okay, if you're trading improper contexts, the likelihood is that you're going to start taking more losses, and you're going to start doing things that are more random, and randomizing what you're doing creates what kind of results? Random results. So when you do well with the random results, you feel really good, and you might even pass a funded evaluation with them. And when you're doing really bad with the random results, what do? You feel really bad and you feel like you'll never learn a thing. But the reality is you're still at neutral and you haven't done anything, right? This is why you need to stop being the market and start understanding the moments in the market where you're willing to trade. That's really it, right? And if I have to define, at least in a sentence for you guys, Anton, you say all this, but what is your context of trade? Well, it's as simple as this. A higher time, let's say we're for bullish, okay? A higher time frame has either begun accumulation, right? So it has already made an MB bullish. It's in some kind of a stage 1, or it's in stage 2 / reaccumulation. Then my lower time frame is in clearer accumulation, reaccumulation. So protected lows are being built up. So it clearly wants to move higher and it's not too overextended beyond the MAs. And then my lower time frame is going through some kind of intermediary stage 1 or just about to go on a new rampage through usually a reaccumulation model. So in a few sentences, I can kind of define my entire bullish approach to market. If those things aren't happening, I'm not taking them. And then on those 3 things, I can build factors like how far am I from the MAs here? How far am I? What is my sentiment reading here? What's my screener reading? What does the SND validation look like? Where is it happening? Do I want to wait for it to be above or at a sideways sloping MA? How many MBs prior have happened and what were their directions? Okay, are we in a stage 1 or in a clear stage 2? Now my lower time frame, are we moving in a clear way from a candlestick perspective? Are the candles moving clearly? Are the MAs moving clearly? Is there jaggedness in price action? Is there illiquidity in price action based on what I'm looking at? Have prior entries looked like they could make good moves or moved in a clean way so that when I get involved, I know the next potential move is going to potentially make a move? Is the MB that we're in right now a very, very long-term one, or has it just been kind of created? It's still youthful, it's still brand new orders, and it has the likelihood of follow through. Those are now all factors of 3 factors that have now affected the underlying system and created better bias, right? Better context for me. Specificity around when I'm actually going to trade or not. Which actually leads me to another thing about time frames. So a lot of you might know this, but like you guys know time frames don't matter. But let's say you're trading a 15-minute, right? So for me personally, if I'm trading a 15-minute, on average, my S&D validation will happen on like a 1 hour or like a 4 hour, but I just use a 1 hour, right? And then my higher time frame is usually like a rule of 30 of that, so a daily, right? And a lot of you will see that my current outlooks that I do for you guys are on these time frames. Now, let me ask you a huge important question, and make sure you think about this before you answer it. If I use just these 3 time frames forever now in my trading, is that a good thing? So Dan says, Dan says yes and no, which I probably would agree with. Someone said no because you won't scale. So not from a scaling perspective, but sure. The answer is actually, I would say yes. If we're specifically defining scaling, then no, right? Because with scaling, we can't stay on one time frame, right? But the problem I see with a lot of people, especially new people, is that they see this or they see like time frames and they're like, well, Anton said all time frames, so I'm using all the time frames. And again, there's a failure to understand that there needs to be simplification of the complicated until you recomplicate. The reason this works is because if you used, let's say, my ICI system on these, could you have a profitable system? If you just use these? Well, the answer is yes, right? So if the answer is yes, why would we ever say no to me saying, hey, can I execute this for the rest of my life? If I'm not trying to like scale to a multiple of my account size, like if I'm at $3 million and I don't want to scale to 50 mil, can I just keep trading it? Well, yeah, of course, because we're all aware this can create a beautiful system for you. But this is what people forget, and this is why I use other time frames too. So when people are like, but why'd you use the 4 hour here and the 6 hour? And why'd you use a 3 day instead of the daily or a weekly? Here is why right now. And I'm going to show you right now based on the thing I just taught a second ago. When I use an hourly or when I use this, what are the permissible trades that will happen on an asset? These are the trades, right? There they are, right here. X. Let's call them X. So if I use these permissibly, at some point, is there going to be a trade? If I, use this for the end of time. Is there at some point going to be at least a trade or some kind of trade met? Yes. Those trades that follow under that category, let's call them X. Okay, there we are. The daily was in an accumulation, the hourly is in clean stage 2 reaccumulations, and the 15-minute set up a trade. Okay, great. Now, what if just randomly the one day chart, one of these days was no longer that clear? It was kind of weird. I was uncertain. What's going to happen for that specific week or that specific month in terms of X? There will be no X, right? That's it. It's as simple as that. Is that a bad thing? No. Can I look at another market from the same standpoint and still get trades? Yes. Okay, phenomenal. So we understand that. Now, what's interesting is, let's say I'm no longer a beginner. Let's say I've been executing on my funded account or whatever, this system for about 4 months. I've made 10K, 20K in payouts. I'm doing perfectly fine. I know exactly what I'm looking for and how I'm doing it. And all of a sudden, I love the context. The context on the market is just so clean. It's been moving great. I've been getting great moves, but all of a sudden the daily is no longer clear. What if I now move to a 3-day? Okay. If the daily is no longer clear, but the 3-day is clear, and these are now clear as well, what has that created as a result? A new function of X, right? Let's call it X2. It's provided a new opportunity for trades that would never be available to me given that I was only looking at this. But because the context was so clear, I was happy to branch into this. And it confirmed for me that I can continue watching these. And as a result, I got new trades that would not have been available otherwise. Now watch what happens when I now potentially look at a 2-day. And when I potentially allow a weekly to affect it. And a 2-week. Let's say all of them affected. And then instead of just a 1-hour validation, I might use a 30-minute, a 4-hour, a 2-hour, because the market's clear. Well, all of a sudden, I'm no longer constricted to this mathematical equation of the only X's that might be available to me. And I've all of a sudden made all of this available to me on one asset. On just one asset. Now on one asset, what might have been 1 trade or 7 trades a month has become 10 to 100 to 700 trades a month. Not actually that much, but the point being is this is what happens when you take simplicity, you stay in it, and then over time you refine it. This is why my refinement has never ended. This is your mathematical proof of why MentFX's refinement of a system has never currently, let's say, stopped existing. Because there are small things that are tweakable that don't take away from my bottom line, but add to my potential bottom line. Because all it's done is it's created and made all of these potential trades available to me. Because guess what? They're still being executed on this time frame, which means that if all of this is moving in a way that is very clean for me, well, even if the daily is no longer being met, I don't have to take the setup that is now part of this X. I'm now borrowing from this X, and all of a sudden, I've added to my bottom line by doing so. Okay? But nonetheless, had I stuck to this middle variant here, it didn't change whether I was profitable or not, which is a very important part. So the reason I talk about this now is because, as you know, even in one-on-ones and stuff, when we talk about like a blueprint for success, people are like, Anton, you don't always wait for a stage 1 SSC before trading. What the fuck? Well, there are ways to simplify complexity at the moment. And one way, for instance, is one chart, let's say a daily, you wait for that back and forth, and before a move, you get an SSC, or let's say off of a 2.0 SSC, and then it makes the break. At that point, you know a certain amount of things have happened. And now you can follow this, hopefully, on your lower time frames to continue that move. Okay? So that's what you might wait for. Yes, you've potentially given up other trades that might have been available, but you've also saved yourself all the money that you would have guaranteed lost because you're not at the moment yet where you can look at a 1-day, a 4-hour, an 8-hour, a 12-hour, and say, okay, I still don't have to trade this market. Because a lot of you, when you look at all these, well, if there's an ICI, or at least 40 of them within the last 100 candles, what do you think there is if you go through every fucking chart and look for something you're forcing? Are you going to find it? or are you not going to find it? You're almost guaranteed to find it. Because as long as you're forcing something, you guys have all heard this, even in journalism, if you force a bias, you can prove it. A version of you can prove it if it's not too extraordinary, right? If we ask ourselves a crazy question, are chefs the actual evil villains of the world that are trying to poison our children? I guarantee you, with about 3 hours of research, I can show all of you how that is the truth. Right? And I mean, we all know it, right? Food and what we consume usually does what? It causes the problems that metabolize in our systems. And who's the people that usually allow us to eat that food? Oftentimes in cafeterias when we're young and we're indoctrinated, right? The chefs. So it must be the case that the chefs are poisoning us. Right? The point is, if we look deep enough, we are guaranteed to find something. And if you look deep enough, without the proper information on every time frame to find the setup, you're gonna find it. But that does not mean the setup is good. Jonathan said, finally someone knows. all the chefs in the mentorship are shaking right now. He got me. Let's see where we are. We were here. SSC has literally proof to work all the time. It's not even biased. Anyone knows how to backtest will agree. Roblox. Yeah. Well, I gotta go make food. Marcus just got funded and now he has to run away and make food like a chef. I knew it. I fucking knew it. I'll see you later, Marcus. If you're rewatching this, I love you, buddy. Conclusion, full margin, both directions. There you go, man. Anton, whereabouts is the stages taught in the course? I'm on webinar 102. So it's generally, most stage things are 100 onwards, okay? But it's very simple. There's nothing crazy about stages. And really, people get into all the stages, it's worthless. There's 2 stages. There's a 1 and there's a 2. And very simply, you're either in, as even retail calls it, consolidation or trending. That's it. We just have different tools to explain away what's happening at any given moment. We have tools that we work through to decide, are we in a clear, let's say stage 2, or are we at the end of a stage 1? Or are we just in a stage 1 that's not worth trading? And simply, the way markets move is either undergo their stage 1, which usually, from what I teach here, is going to be through multiple MBs, up and down, with usually, from a blueprint, an SSC into now moving, that's stage 1, right? Into a stage 2. Which is oftentimes protected lows moving higher, undergoing reaccumulation, aka breaking down and moving higher, and doing that over and over again until the price has broken back and forth so many times that it's entered a brand new version of a stage 1 that either, because of the higher time frame, wants to now start a new stage 2 up or stage 2 down. That's it. This is the only blueprint, let's say, through which markets move. This is it. And all we do is we use the tools taught here, whether it be MAs, MBs, the rules behind MBs, S&D 2.0s, and the models, to decide whether or not it is a stage 2 that is worthy of trading or stage 1 that is worthy of beginning to trade. That's it. In the hope that we can get the next potential move. That's it. Or, very simply, based on my system, let's say this is a daily chart. Watch this. At this point, I start watching the hourly. The hourly is going, and then it starts reaccumulating. At this point, I'm watching the 15-minute, and my entry's here. And even if it moves that much, just this small move inside of this potential stage 2 that might even be bigger, I can make a very good amount of money. Right? This is my whole system, basically. You go from stage 1 to stage 2, stage 1 into potential 2 to the downside or 2 to the upside. And based on your context, based on the screener, let's say, based on your approach, you get to get involved in this, right? That's it. That's the entire kind of blueprint of the market. Let's put it that way. So it's nothing like too crazy. It's not like this concept where once you've heard it once, the world is gonna fucking shrivel, right? It's just kind of, this is what it looks like. What's wrong with you using that system for the rest of your life? Exactly, iPhone. There is nothing wrong with it. Unless you want to scale. But you're correct. If you're happy with your $3 million account, which most of us would be fucking more than happy with. Let's be real for a second. And you could just trade 15K, 30K per hour risk, right, on a system that's only using that, and even return 1R, 10R, whatever it is a month on average. Well, 15K, 30K, 150K, 300K, yeah, you're set. And if again, I spoke about this last week, but if you've done the math for what you truly need to survive, let's say right now, it becomes very apparent that, yeah, that's something you can do for the rest of your life. You don't even have to branch out, right? So that also comes down to the kind of trader you want to be, right? It's like, are you trading so you can just stick inside this, in this place where you're comfortable, which is nothing wrong with that. I fucking hate the people out there that are like, you gotta get out of your comfort zone, piece of shit. It's like, no, shut the fuck up. If someone wants to be comfortable and that's what they want to live like, that is their prerogative in their life, right? There's people that want to surf for the rest of their lives, will go live in a caravan and be happier than any of us, than any of the happiness we might ever experience for the rest of their lives. It's like, and those people are comfortable, right? They don't need 300K or whatever the fuck it might be. So yes, you can. Usually people anyway stick to some time frames for entries analysis. So why this can't be a whole system if you used this over and over again, right? Exactly, Alex. Yep, I agree with you guys perfectly. You guys are completely correct. Dorian said this happened this week for me on NAS. So yes, the idea that if you are starting to find non-consistent markets, not clear markets, or slower markets, and you're still forcing things potentially, you might start feeling like you've lost your edge because you're like, oh my God, nothing's working. But the reality is it's just not clear, right? Like even silver here is a good example. So I had a trade on this. We'll go over this in a second. But like this trade, first of all, is this an ICI if you buy stop this high, or this one right here? All you should know the answer, even if you're like brand new. Yeah, I mean, this is an ICI, right? Because that's it. That's all it is. Now, the question becomes, is it a good one? And for me personally, the answer becomes no. And it's again for factors, right? The factors are, I don't like that we've had back and forth and we failed to continue following through. I don't like the fact that it's super wicky and choppy as it's kind of set this up. I don't like the fact this one has set up so high up and this one was really hard to spot, because the reality of this one is price could have easily just done this for now and then done this, right? So I don't like either of them whatsoever, right? But the thing is, if anyone here that's kind of brand newish saw this, they go, oh my God, there's an ICI there. And they'd want to trade it. And that's fine. Maybe that's part of their rules and they're okay, in which case that's great. But if they're new and it's not part of their rules, and then this doesn't end up delivering, which it might, but let's say it doesn't, which I expect it to actually come down. I actually want to see this come down and then build up a setup around here maybe or something. Because right now we're like in a deeper stage one for a potential. Again, for the guy that asked earlier, this is the stage one that's happening right now in my book. And I want to get involved on the end of the stage one, hopefully into this stage two, right? And look at the hourly. This is what you're going to see. The hourly's in what? A clear stage two, right? It underwent at stage one, and now look at what it's doing. It's just higher reaccumulation. Higher, what can I expect? Higher or reaccumulation, right? That's it. That's my entire analysis. There's nothing more. And then the daily, does it confirm that? Yes or no? Yeah. Silver's been in this SSC here for the longest time ever and moving from it. It wants to move towards this high. That's all I'm looking for. That's it. Nothing more. That's my entire analysis. Isn't that insane? Right? So I'm just looking for it to clear that high now. So I can follow that as long as it's clear. But personally, that setup, I don't like it. Right? It's a slower setup for me, and it's one that I would not take. And it's a slower week. It's a weirder move. It's just not clear for me. But again, if I go like this, any setup can be made good. I can tunnel vision this. I can say, holy shit, there's potential ICI through this high and this one, and maybe it can go up right now, up, and then come down a little bit, and then I can take a buy stop here. It's like, but that's not the kind of setups I look for. I need to look at it from a standpoint of what am I used to seeing? And the reality is this setup is not clear to me. Ian says, so stage one is complete when the SSC has been confirmed. Actually, that's the opposite of exactly what I said right now. This is one formula, one blueprint from which you may start to judge price to stay out of more price action. So Ayan, actually, what I'm going to do for you, okay, is after this webinar, so write this down in a notebook or something. I want you to go down to ICI Extras. I want you to click on that section. I want you to scroll up, and I want you to watch this. Powerful ICI model plus context model for profitable entries, all time frames. I want you to click on that, and I want you to watch this, because it's a one-on-one that I uploaded, and it's to do exactly with this question, where it's not necessary whatsoever, exactly like I just discussed. However, I'm going to show you how just by teaching this concept alone, it helped this member start to have a lens of price rather than trading everything. Remember the things I just taught you. If you're trading everything, but you don't have any prior understanding of what you're looking for, then all that's going to happen is every trade that's ever available, you're going to take. And what does that mean? You start having random trades, which means random results, because they're happening in areas that are sometimes good, sometimes bad. So your losses and winnings are going to reflect that. I love the concept of ICI, but my type of style is confirm inside the zone. And that's fine. Again, as I evolved as a trader personally, I stopped looking for prices to always come back to zones and instead looked for ways for prices to trend. The more they trend, the better for me, right? But it doesn't matter, because like you can do any one of those two things. It's perfectly fine either way. So yes, Ion, that's what you want to do next, okay? That is your next step. Where was I up here? Oftentimes, I feel like we're lost in trying to match the same context for every trade. Can you speak on why it's not as simple as that? Or is it? It actually is that simple. But remember, contexts in themselves are snowflakes. Wyckoff is a snowflake, right? Remember that. Stage 1, stage 2, they're snowflakes. They're going to happen in different ways. Each one is going to be unique in the way the candles move, the candles look, how big the MB ranges are, how the MB ranges form. But at the end of the day, the same thing is happening. And the question is it worthy of trading or not? And then that is answered by asking yourself from prior, by studying the left, what are the contexts that added up to make a good trade, right? And now the question is this context, from a unique snowflake perspective, at least, the similar context? Is it moving in the same ways and moving up and down or breaking up or down MB-wise the same way? Are the candles that are happening within the MBs moving in a way that are somewhat similar to what I've just seen? And then we document that. And guess what? That's only 2 examples. Imagine you do that 1,000 times. What do you think is going to happen, right? If I simply asked you to find examples of exactly this and find and just do that for 1,000 trades, what do you think is going to happen? So let's look at the context for that trade. Higher time frame, bullish, daily, bullish. Okay, that's decided. Now on the 50-minute, what are you looking for? You're looking for a large run-up away, okay, a large run-up that builds protected lows higher, undergoes some form of reaccumulation, okay, and then starts moving higher, so makes an MB break higher, so confirms reaccumulation, and then what? Sets up at the higher portion of the MB to go higher. Now, if we look at thousands of markets for this exact same context, do you think you're going to learn something about your system or not, right? So again, same thing. Price starts making a large move away, starts building protected lows higher, makes a break down, but not multiple. So that's one thing that's different there, but we can keep that in mind. So potential reaccumulation. Does it break bullish? It does. Now can we find a setup after it kind of goes sideways at the high end of the MB? Nope. Nothing yet. Okay, now it's starting to. So now we want to see price come up and go sideways along this top, and then we can buy it higher. It doesn't go sideways along the top. It just comes right up through it, right? Remember, compare the setups. Sideways along the top, comes right through it. Okay, we ignore it. Undergoes reaccumulation again, starts breaking bullish, wait for sideways along the top. Doesn't happen. Okay, there's a sideways along the top, right? So now you found at least a trade that mimics the general unique snowflake context of the other trade. And this one could have been, what? A loss. Document and go next. Wait for the same context. Nothing yet. Nothing yet. Right? There's nothing. Nothing is now meeting that exact same context. So we wait. And then it starts again the same thing. Maybe. I'd probably skip it. Maybe. And then you get the setup we just spoke about right here along the top. Right? So again, It actually is as simple as that. It is as simple as matching it up. The hard part of that, of matching it up though, is that we get very tunnel vision, that we start forcing things that aren't there, right? You might be like, oh, bullish MB, that's it. Let's go. This is the same problem we had back in the day with the double MBs, right? Oh, double MB, let's go. It's like, no. There are types of double MBs that we're going to enter and we're not going to enter. Hi, Ment. Hope you're well. Can you take 5 minutes to help me start collecting data? If you're a beginner, how would you do it? I spoke about that actually in the last webinar and in the hashtag the process section a ton. And other people gave a few more areas right here, it seems like. But I might make another live trading video showing you how I data collect if I was doing it. But that's exactly what's in the hashtag the process section. Sir, when going into data collection phase, should I only put in trades which I would have taken within my trading session? I would put them all. You want to see what the edge of the system is. You can do it in one session if you really want, but I would just do them all because you want to know, like, if you're just trading this setup alone and it's happening, like, what are you making money or not? What's up, Peace Pod? Good to see you, buddy. Look deep enough without the proper information is the equivalent of fuck around and find out. I can find setups overall. It's getting better the less time I spend on the charts. Yes, that's going to happen. Because you're less attached to now the market, you're more attached to the setups, right? That's exactly what happens. The more you get attached to the contexts that you're in, the more you get attached to just looking for markets that are moving clearly, the easier it becomes to find setups. Why? Because now you're no longer stuck there going, but can I force it? Can I find something? Oh, come on. But my friend told me on Reddit that I should buy this. Come on. You know, it's like, nope, no more of that. John says, hi, Anton. 2 webinars ago, you briefly talked about letting go of an existing demand zone if in other forms, but that it depends on your range. Could you go into more detail about that? Yeah. Generally, it's based on MB ranges. So, like, there's a demand zone here, and there's more demand zones that have formed now, but you might not let go of this one in regards to allowing price to accumulate there because it's still part of the MB range. So if it breaks down, let's say twice now with supply zones, you might ignore the market until it either reaches here and starts to undergo stage 1 or makes a new type 1 through 4 demand zone that you can now start to follow long again. That's it. That's all that meant. So demand can remain valid. And another way is through 2.0s, like we taught, right? 2.0s remain valid through and through price. And the question is it worth removing it now for you or not? Shit, I just spilled some coffee. Anton, I have a very beginner question already asked in Discord, but I still want to ask you again. When you start looking at a chart, daily, 1 hour, 15 minute, doesn't matter. Where do you start analyzing it? How far do you go left? As left as I need to for me to get a good picture of what's going on, that's it. Or it's not clear. So like if I go to silver daily and I'm zoomed in right here, can I see anything? So we're gonna do a little interactive with JKX. Is this enough for me to see anything? Do I understand what's going on right now? JKX. I need JKX to answer. All right, good shit. Okay, so I'm gonna just zoom like this. Okay, so I know now that there's an MB high here because a gray line appeared, but does this give me any information regarding prior price, prior MBs, and where we are in terms of the most recent MB? Does it give me any reference into that? Okay, so I'm gonna zoom out more. Okay, now I know we're in some kind of MB here. Do I know if it's a bullish MB, a bearish MB? Do I know where it's coming from, what it's doing? Okay, so let's zoom out like this. Okay, so now I know, just from what I see here, that we had a bullish break and a bullish break, and now we're in this range. Does that give me a good enough context for me to say, okay, I'm clearly in a bullish market now? I'd say yes and no. I don't want to see what's going on here, right? Why is it all cut off my screen? So I'm just going to zoom out like this and go, okay, there we are. So price was going sideways for a while, started moving higher, reaccumulated in a weird way, and then started moving higher. So we had an accumulation / reaccumulation here, and now we're clearly in that SSC that's moving higher. So all I've done is I've zoomed out to the point where it makes sense for me to follow the context here or to not make sense of what's going on so I can look away from it. That's it. There's no like, make sure you can see 4 MBs, make sure you can see the whatever, like insert X there. It doesn't matter. All I'm interested in is there a context that I can spot based on what I'm used to when I look at this market from an MB perspective, zoomed out, right? And If it's like this, well, there's nothing I can do here, right? I can't build a story out of this. So, okay, let's look at another one. Let's look at USD CAD. Okay, so here I'm on the daily. Do you think this gives me enough information to not even have to go any more left or zoom out more? Yes or no? So JKX says no, but I would say yeah, right? We have plenty of information here. Price is moving short, redistributes, moving short, redistributes, moving short, potential redistribution, now moving short. So what is it going to do? It's probably going to keep going lower, right? So now I can follow and confirm this on other time frames, right? Because I don't need to go higher anymore because there's so many MBs available to me that I can create a story out of them. So it's probably going to go lower, which means that now I can use a lower time frame or higher to prove that. Is my weekly proving that? If I zoom out to this point, do I have enough to prove that? I would say yes. We have a multiple back and forth market here. Price moves down, so it's in distribution, redistributes, distribution, redistributes, distribution, potential redistribution. So this is clearly wanting to move to that low. Let me follow that on a 1 hour. Is it lining up with that? So again, if I'm like this, do I have enough information? I would say probably, because it's clearly in redistribution and that's aligning with those other timeframes, but I'd probably zoom out, just take a look. Either way, it's the same story. Price is moving long, broke down, stage 1, now it's in stage 2, it's in that stage 2, it's in a very ugly stage 2. I'd probably ignore this. So if I was to follow this, what would I wait for? Probably for price to move up a little higher, create a, hopefully, supply zone somewhere up here or higher, maybe somewhere up here, right? Let the MAs kind of do a little bit of this. Okay, then I can step down to where? A 15-minute, because I know what I'm looking for, and what do I look inside of there? I want to see price pull back, come down, and make an ICI, and I'll trade that, right? So I have a full model for what I want to look for because the market condition of USDCHF in this case is clear, right? The context that we've looked at through this zoom out, zoom in, just in terms of, is there something that I can create out of this? It's clear, so I can follow it, right? That's it. There's no crazy like special rule for zoom out to the 33% or you're gonna miss out on good trades. Like that doesn't exist. I'm just looking for a consistency in regards to what is the market telling me from a standpoint of the most recent MBs, right? I don't want to be like tuned in the price like, okay, because this is a lot of people in the trading space right now. We have this, draw that out. Don't forget this. There we go. Here's 0.5. You can, what can I see? Equal highs. There's a trend line, equal lows. So I'm probably going to see it come up, come down into this new formed, come up, 0.5, change a character, and then come down. Whew, I can't wait. It's like, what the fuck are we doing? And you guys would be surprised. Many people do analyze markets like that. But like, what you don't realize is there's no consistency behind what they're doing because you guys want to know how many markets do this every single day? Thousands. Which means if they just use their system on those thousands of markets, the reality is they'd likely find themselves fucked because there's no understanding to understand, how did the orders come into the market? Why is the market doing what it's doing right here, right now? Because of what's happened. And does it line up? Yes. And what can I look for if I wanted to trade it? Well, now we know. Hi, man. Can you go through the latest price action for UJ? I see an ICI getting formed through the high, November 30th, but I'm not sure if you skipped it for a reason. It's because it's not proper. So again, look how zoomed in we are, right? This is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, this is this photo I get on that trade, right? And this is the ICI we're looking at. So why wouldn't I take this? Because it's not clear at all for me. Where would I put my stop loss? Here, 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 here? No idea. It just comes down and then instantly takes off through it. There's no setup for me here. If anything, the only setup here is probably, I don't even see the right-hand side of this, but if this started coming up the right-hand side now and set up here maybe, then I would take a trade. Or at the worst case scenario, if you're a crazy goober, a buy stop here with a stop under these candle lows, bodies, or here. This is all I see on this market. But again, look how zoomed in you are now. But yeah, I don't see a trade here at all. Like, this is not even an ICI that I personally would trade. I don't see it as clear. Maybe if it stopped a little bit and came down like this and then broke, then I would take this and put my stop here, because now there's a defined area where, you know, some kind of orders had played around. But this is just two huge up candles into validating it. I don't like that. It's not clear to me, right? Anton, I've seen you say that you should trade only around 3 markets. No. Forget that. That was for when I traded a 1 second chart. So ignore that. I'm just going to move on with the questions. I look at thousands of markets now. So would using a higher time frame to enter trades likely be useful to scale using a similar strategy? Yep. So meant this S&D remastered course, this is my thought. Why, when I all of a sudden take this and, for example, wait for bullish context, wait for stage 2, and trade the demand zones going up within my trading session, it's almost like a hack if you just trade the demand zones. It's like stupid, on point, and accurate. Because that's what happens when you're part of the best community in the entire world. Okay, I'm just kidding, but that's actually what happens though. It's like stupid, on point, and accurate. I'm thinking about just simply going with the simplest form approach and then using it to add. Yep. I mean, what are my thoughts on that? That's perfect. That's why I made that available. That's why I started the remastered the way I did. Because I understood a way that I could get across an understanding a lot better and a lot clearer to a lot of people. How would you approach your ICI system with the 1 minute? The exact same way as I would in a 15 minute. Look for clear context on probably, what's 5 times 30? 5 times 150 minutes. So look for a clear context on a 2 hour. Is this clear? Yeah, it's clearly in bullishness. It's moving clear. Let me jump to a 5 minute, wait for like an S&D or demand zone validation, right? It's clearly bullish, reaccumulation, so you wait. Breaks long, so you probably have reaccumulation confirmed. Price comes down and makes what right here? A type 4 demand zone is created right here, right? And then you can see it makes no oh shit, I almost dropped my coffee. And then it only makes one supply zone, so you would have still been following this. So anything past this demand zone on, let's say, a 1 minute ICI is worth taking. Let's see if we have any trades worth taking there. Guess what? Any of you can do this. I'm sure there are going to be some. What do we see? Price in stage 1, good to go. No clear trade here, right? So nothing comes up. For me, these are not entries that I would take, but some of you, these are fine entries. Some of you would get funded just off of one of these moves. I don't take these personally, but I'd wait. Let's keep waiting. I'd wait for something clear for myself, like this, and then a move up and then sideways, hopefully. Yeah, I would consider a long through this high now, as is. So buy stop that high, take a loss right there, keep watching. Hopefully it goes sideways now. Yeah, buy stop this high. And since this is the second trade in like one range, I would probably stop if I took a loss here, but let's see. So you buy stop that high. There's another ICI, the same thing I would trade. Stop loss under this candle low or just this candle low. Oh, wow, what do you know? You passed another evaluation. Whoops. Money was made, unlucky. Right, like, again, you just follow the same rules. There's nothing different. This market, look, does this look any different from any of my 15-minute entries? No. Does this look any different from the entries I took on the daily chart in the videos I presented here? Let's see. Let's see a trade I took. Does that trade look any different? No, and that's a short. Let's look at a long. Does that trade look any different? I mean, maybe, yeah, it probably does actually because of the range that it's in, but it's the same exact thing. You can't distinguish. If I didn't have this little thing up here, you would not be able to distinguish whether I'm on a daily chart, a 1 hour chart, a 15-minute chart, or a 1 minute chart. You're just allowing your poor understanding of time get in the way of your system, right? Because you're like, oh my God, they happen so much faster. It's like, it's super different. It's like, no, it's not. It's the same thing. It's just you can risk less because of scalability issues. What other trades were available? Here's one. Here's one. And then I would not say anything here. So now you'd probably wait for one more reset, but if it does start resetting, what's going to happen? It's going to enter distribution. So I would now wait, probably if I go to a 5 minute, I would now wait for the 5 minute to do what? Break down, undergo reaccumulation, hopefully play around, make a demand zone around here, and then guess what I'm going to do after that? Go back to my 1 minute and do what? Follow for this leg higher through these clouds of liquidity to keep on moving higher, because we're still in a clear higher time frame, in our case a 2-hour model to move higher, right? Does it make sense that the next 2-hour candle or the next 6 hours, so the next 3 candles, could at least do something like this? Can you see that ever happening? I would say yes. It doesn't seem out of the ordinary. It seems like it's actually very plausible. So we can follow it. If on the other hand, price was up here, could you now imagine the next 2 hours could do something like this? I would say probably with a 15% chance, right? In my personal testing. So I would ignore this price action and wait for a larger correction into, hopefully, a clear SSC or reaccumulation model, into a clear 5 minute accumulation, stage 1, into demand zone validation, into 1 minute trading, right? It's the same thing. There's nothing different. Why are we pretending like the 1 minute is like this enemy of the state and we're not going to be able to figure it out? The monthly charts do the same thing. If I do a 1 month chart, you're going to see the exact same moves. There's going to be on a higher time frame, right? Look at this. I mean, this is more of a longer term range, but what is this setup? What is this setup? What is this setup right here? It's the exact same 1 minute setup that we just looked at. This one, protect the low of the candle, look to take it long. It's the same setup. Look what happened down here after the stage 1. What is this? It's the same setup. Look what's happening right now. It's creating an ICI on the monthly on the gold. If I was a hedge fund, this is the long that I'd be taking right now. 116. Okay, so maybe a little bit smaller. Maybe I'll protect these lows inside of there instead. So this would be my trade right now. This is a phenomenal trade. What is gold likely to do over the next few months? Probably something like this. So the next few, what is this? The next few like years, the next 10 years is probably going to be this on gold. You're probably going to see gold at like 2,600, right? It's the same movement. Nothing has changed. And if my monthly is my entry time frame, what should I be looking at as my higher time frame? Well, I can use a 4 month, maybe a 5 month for my validation. Is it in validation mode? Yeah, look at this. You just know it is. Beautiful type 2 demand zone. We're moving long. Let's look at a 30 month. We can't. Let's look at a yearly. Is the context there for bullishness? Yes. Is this 1 month chart entry different from the 1 minute ones? No, not at all. It's the same exact thing. This is a phenomenal entry. Can I trade it? No, it's fucking useless. I'm going to have my money locked up for years. And it's not worth my while. I can get 5,000 more trades on gold before it even makes the move to here. So it's an opportunity, it's a cost, right? You have to decide what cost makes sense for you. What is this entry here, guys? It's the exact same thing. This is that same 1 minute entry we took just now, that 1 minute, but that failed, right? On the 1 minute we took this, and then it did what? This. And then it reset and made another move. In this case, that same 1 minute or 1 month. Look, ignore this. Imagine it's 1 minute. Does this setup make sense on a 1 minute? Yup. Does it make sense on a monthly? Yup. Same exact thing. So how would I approach my system on a 1 minute? The exact same way. I'd stop focusing on the fact that it's a low time frame, and I'd start focusing on the fact that the rules are there for that model, right? And I can follow it. It's just we get taken aback when your mentor might be waiting a week for a trade and you might be waiting 7 minutes or 7 hours for a trade. That's normal. That's how it works. That's how timeframes function in this market. Best time frame for ICIs to get funded with 100K. Probably a 1 minute. Easily. I mean, you take like probably, I mean, with my thing here, right? Like if you're on a 1 minute, you're going to get a lot more trades. At what point did I get the 10% on my account? After about 13 trades. So if you take at least 20 trades on a 1 minute, you're likely going to pass your funded account, right? For an ICI system. And how many 1 minute ICIs are going to be available to you? Well, a ton. Does that mean you're going to be trading every day? No, it means you're going to wait for a good context, a good market, and then execute. This is an example of that. If you ask me, hey, Anton, I trade a 1 minute ICI, what market should I look at right now? Well, gold looks great. 2 hours clear, moving long, right? That 5 minute or 15 minute is about to go into clear accumulation. Wait for it to break down, reaccumulate. And then around here, I would start watching it on a 1 minute. And then it's going to be in the stage 1 to start making a new stage 2. And you can capitalize on a move inside of here. And there's going to be probably a move here, another move inside of here. It's going to make a move, and then it's going to start failing. So if you get involved here or here, and then you potentially get the runner, you're going to pass an evaluation just like that. Otherwise, you're going to have to work a little bit more because price is going to move the way it normally moves. Right? This is how markets move. Like, that's it. Don't get too attached to the time frame. And then Mr. Nasdaq asked, does anyone else have the same result where they watched it and then had insane clarity and simplicity? And people are saying yes. Good. So stage 1 is, we went over that. Regarding S&D validation and invalidation, I understand that two supply zones in a bullish context signals us to sit out until a new demand enters the market. Do the two supply have to appear consecutively one after another? How do you treat scenarios where a demand zone sits between the supply? Is it considered 2-time supply zone? No, because this made a demand zone here. But I would consider, so this is a little bit harder to understand, but I would consider this 2 supply zones. So if you look at this up candle, follow it, that creates a type 4 right there, and this creates a type 1. I would call this 2 for my personal system. So I would stop watching price on this candle. I'd wait. Then on this break here, right, because that makes a type, yeah, it does. I would start watching again, but notice that it instantly would fall off and not give you trades. So then you'd wait again, because now it's created a supply zone here, and that's it, right? So 1 supply zone. So you might actually keep watching it, and then actually, yeah, for me personally, after this one here, because it invalidates the prior demand and has now made 2 type 1 demand, supply zones down, I would stop watching there as well until this type 1, and then you can start watching again. But then at the same time, it's important to consider where you are and how far you are in this market and if it actually makes sense to watch. Because again, you're still going to be looking at a lower time from context. So yeah, I would probably start watching here again. But this is a little bit up to preference too, right? So some of you might not consider this a 2x. I do. So I would not trade that. I would stop trading around here. And then some of you would not consider this because maybe you don't like how it's formed. But I would probably start watching it and look at what it looks like on that lower time frame. So if you're on a 90 minute here, usually, so here's a little tactic, guys. I use a rule of 4. So you guys know about the rule of 30. I use a rule of 4 for my S&D validation. Okay, so if I'm trading a 15 minute, I'm using a 1 hour as my validation. If I'm trading a 1 minute, you can use a 5 minute or a 4 minute. If you're on a 90 minute as your validation, what's that divided by 4? I don't know. 2.2 or so? So 22. So you look to a 22 minute. So if right here on a 22 minute, it starts to make a clear stage 1, then yeah, you can follow it. But likely, I know that the 22 minute here, you can even send a photo for me, John. The 22 minute here is likely doing what? It's in clear redistribution, like this right now, even here. And then on this break here, I can guarantee you did this and made like 1 MB or 2 MB breaks up. So it's likely to continue that move down, which is why you see this then get ran. So this all just stays in that big range, which means that even on the 90 minute, when it got validated, the 22 minute, which would be your trading entry time frame, or 15 minute, right? You can just round down, was not be clear here. And you can send me a photo right now if you want of the 22 minute and we can see what happened there. But I guarantee it was probably in a clear stage 1 into stage 2 downside and then continued that downside move. Stage 1 is literally a back and yeah, we went over that. I learned so much from watching that one-on-one. Good. Is this one too early for you? Just wondering. Yeah. Somebody asked me about this one, actually. I said I didn't like it at all. I didn't like that we were in this like very long-term downside move, never made a break higher, and then just set this move up here. It was not clear to me. So what I did when someone sent this, I actually sent them a photo back and I said, I want to see it break the high, then come down and set up a trade here. Right? And that's exactly what happened, but it happened in a really, really wicky environment after breaking down again. So you'll see, I even drew it in because I wanted to trade it. This trade, I was truly contemplating trading it, but it was just not clear enough for me. Look, I'll even show you right here. I even wrote about it because I was like, shit, This is a trade I'd love to take. Where was it? I'll even show you what I sent, because I think I sent this one. Where is it? Where is it? Fuck, it's not here. I put it in the trade talk, but this is a phenomenal move. A great move. Right there. Let me see if I can find the... Maybe somebody can tag it or tag me in it, but I sent it to someone. Someone asked me about gold, but I missed it. I mean, I replied to them, but I don't know where it is. Mentions... Mentafex. Gold. Oh, is this gold? No, it's GJ. Somebody asked me about gold. I just don't know where it is, sadly. And then I sent out or told them exactly that I didn't like it for that exact reason that I just... All right, whatever. It's not... I don't know where it is. But that's the reason, okay? So no, I didn't like that trade at all. I literally wanted this to set up by going and breaking and then setting up a move here. And it didn't do that, right? So these are those instances where I won't be trading it, but you know, if this is your trade, then great. I mean, even then it might look like you might still get a break even on this. But yeah, it's not my cup of tea. All right. Can you talk about staying out of a setup that's being overextended on a higher time frame, but still having valid trending setups on a lower time frame? Yep. Stay out of it. Wait for it to undergo stage 1. An example is what I just spoke about with gold on the 2-hour if you're trading a 1-minute chart. If this was up here, even if it's clear on a lower time frame, I would wait for it to reaccumulate stage 1 and then start trading it higher. Allow those clouds of liquidity to form based on what I'm used to seeing, and then look to take that higher. There's, like, you said it yourself in that question. If the higher time frame is in a way that it's invalid for you, who cares if the lower time frame is valid? That's the same question where it's like, the higher time frame's doing this, but my lower time frame made a double MB. Should I enter? It's like, what? What? Right? It's the same. That's the same question that's being asked there. It's like, if you have a rule to stay out of that overextended market, then wait. Here's a good example, right? Overextends. It's still valid probably on a lower time frame, but I would wait for reaccumulation. It starts reaccumulating, then I'll start following it. Can't believe I didn't utilize webinars before. Listen, the whole course, psychologically and technically, is in the entire webinars. Yep. Hey, Ment, I'm in the progress of backtesting, and right now I use a RR commission of 0.5. Do you think it's sufficient? Should I up it? Also, I'm trading bigger lot size, 30 to 50 lots. Will you get slipped a lot? You'll probably get slipped a good bit with 30 to 50 lots. How did you account for slippage and commissions when you were trading your old lower time frame system? I ate that cost because I still made money. And as you know, right now, as you can see, I was working for hundreds and thousands of hours, not for hundreds of thousands, but for hundreds and thousands on building out a higher time frame system because I wanted to scale up. My Mentafex structure indicator doesn't show accumulation or ATR. Is there something enabled? Go in. Here's ATR on watermark. Models. Right? That's models. You need to have it on. There we are. Where do you get the premium version? Go to the welcome. Watch, read, and then right here. All you do is you go to the Mentafex bot and you go over to the chat and you type /A, click this, and then type in your name on TradingView. And then it won't do anything because I already have it, but that's how you do it. Okay. Stupid question, maybe, but under Mentafex Mastery, I can only see 6 folders where I just saw a lot more of Ment's Discord. Am I missing something? Those aren't visible. There's nothing in them though. So like, look, I'll show you. Like if I go to models, right? It's just examples of what I would want to discuss. It's not, there's nothing there. Don't worry about it. You are good. Please make a detailed video on data collection. Have you seen the #TheProcess section? I'm late. Hey, man, I wonder if you remember me. Of course, SMB. Of course, buddy. I don't forget anybody. Except for when I do. Hi, Anton. Can I know if an MB2 can be count if inside MB1? I don't know what that means. But if you have, let's say you're inside an MB, and then you have intermediate, MB1, MB2, of course you can follow that. That's how like even a fractalized double MB might work. Yep. If there was not that huge range, there would be enough PA already to have a good context. Yep, exactly. But that range told us a story, right? So he's talking about UJ right now. He said if this range didn't exist, there'd be enough price action to have a good context. But even then, that's not true, right? Imagine this range didn't exist and it was just this low. What would happen? It would break down, right? Then it'd make an MB up, then it would make an MB down, then it would make an MB up, so that's accumulation, right? Then it just sideways for the longest time makes a small MB up and then just doesn't do anything. Maybe an MB up, MB down, MB up, MB down. So distribution / accumulation, MB up, accumulation into instant sideways into new MB down. So guess what? Whether or not this range existed, this price action entered a sloppy one, right? From a clear bullish one, or even from a less clear one, personally, in my book. But yeah, it's like, either way, this gave you the sign that this was going to go to shit. And even if it didn't, it did go to shit. Another beginner question. Can you show us an example of a 2.0? Any zone that gets hit by a zone. So that creates a 2.0 off of this. That creates 2.0 off of this. That creates 2.0 off of this. So theoretically, you could use this zone if price ever came here to keep following it down. That's it. It's nothing crazy. It's just zone off of zone. A 2-candle setup, so I count this as an MB, always has its own unmitigated zone even if it appears mitigated. Yeah, that's fine, sure. But just using an MB zone just because there is an MB is not going to be that helpful. You have to do it in contexts, right? Like, I don't know where we are right now. We're very zoomed in. All I see is just this, so I have nothing to really do with this. But since the most recent break is bearish, we can assume that we're probably in some kind of a bearish context. So this zone is acting as liquidity. Yeah. Approved. There is no context attached to that system. Which one? Oh, the one where I zoomed in and started to talk about like, wow, zone, and then zone imbalance, and then this zone, and then we can take this zone because it's clear zone and we protect the highs. But wait, there's equal highs. So we take out the equal highs first and then we'll go like this. Hey, wow, I'm so good. Yeah, I don't know, man. Sup, Poppy meant. Not sure if this was answered since I was gone for a bit. Can you please go over where you start to look for S&D validations? Is it pretty much when the 15 minutes undergoing stage 1? I think I did go over that. I think I did. Based on the remastered S&D section, we understand that type 2, 3, 4 zones are compromised of multiple candles. In webinar 77, we were taught that any demand supply zone considered 2+ candles is considered an MB, and therefore it's not a zone. Even if it appears mitigated, does this idea still apply in the remastered course? Yep, but I haven't taught about MBs yet in the remastered course. What's your top 5 market? I don't know. That does not exist. That is a question for the fun side of YouTube. For the 600K of video side of YouTube, okay? I'm gonna have to skip that one. I don't have top 5 markets. Markets are cyclical. They will cease to exist for years. Who cares? I'm here for the conditions of the market. How do you feel gold will go on Monday? Well, I told you exactly what I'd look for if I was trading this. But I don't think so Nat, it seems like you might be very, very new, which is okay. But it's time to put the foot down and start working, okay? I don't think about what gold's going to do on Monday. I just think about what I would need it to do for me to get a trade on it.
And if that happens, whether it's on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or on Leprechaun Day, that's when I will trade it. This remastered SND allowed me to refine my system a lot and prevent me from being FOMO'd. Yep. I also did talk about gold. So if you're trading like a 1 minute system, I'd be waiting for a reaccumulation on a 5 minute stage 1 into 1 minute follow through. If I'm trading a 15 minute, which is my personal system, I'm waiting for this thing to start undercutting better and then set up something hopefully around here to continue this bullish move. Yep. And I said if you're trading a monthly, then... Oh, that's on silver, right? There we go. If you're trading a monthly, then you got this. So yeah, lower time frame, wait for that reaccumulation to follow it long. And on my time frame, wait for a cleaner, because this is not the kind of setup I look for. Wait for something like this. But it can easily do this, in which case I get to walk away and let this thing, whatever, stage 1 for a while, which is also very likely. So who cares? We'll just wait for the setup to actually happen. I would start watching the web. So NAT, I'd start watching the webinars. I'd start showing up to them. I'd watch the most recent ones, because even in like the last one or two webinars ago, I showed you exactly how I predicted an exact move to the T before it ever happened, and then how I traded it. So you'll know how I look for things before weeks start and how I don't assume that it's going to be the Monday's price action. Because remember, I don't teach you to go, well, if this is the high of the last week and this is the low of the last week, what Monday should do is Monday should take out the oh shit, hold on. Monday should take out the high, come into the beautiful little box here, go like this, come down, hit the inbound, and then go like this is not how I trade. I don't think in days, I don't think in Mondays and Tuesdays. I think in what is price doing and what do I want to see for the time frame I'm trading. I'm not secluded to one time frame. So I don't think in random time like that. Set a reminder to check if we reach that price during webinar 649, 10 years from now. We will. We will. 10 years, let's put it on the chart and keep it there. We'll put it on one that I don't look at. Let's go to forex.com. I don't look at that one. All right, 10 years from now, what's that? 2025. 12-3. Wait, no. I'm an idiot. 2033. So year 2033. Price should have surpassed at least the 2600, right? Dollar mark. And probably much higher, but all right. We'll see you guys in 10 years. Thanks for the gold signal. We'll go all in this week. I noticed you have to be careful on the first double MB. Price sometimes runs it and creates another setup right after. Yep, that's called stage 1 blueprint, baby. Hi, Anton. Can I know if MB2 can be... Oh, we went over that one. This is that 22-minute price action you asked to see. 22-minute. Yeah, so... Oh, well, actually, it's not terrible. So this is where that type 1 happened. And then it broke the bullishness. So yeah, this is actually great. This is great price action. If I saw this, I'd be watching this market to trade it long. If this, like right now, can I add white to this? I don't know. I don't know how to do that. All right, this is fine. This will do for now. Like if this right now could do this, because look, this is a phenomenal market condition. Reaccumulation, beautiful to see. Into now breaking bullish, that's perfect. And it's validated. Now, all I would want to see is price come up. Can I not draw here? Oh, there we go. Price would come up, sideways. I'd buy stop this. Either through it or with one more pause and then buy stop it. This would be a phenomenal trade in my book. And I would take that higher. But I don't know what happens next because that's all I have. But this is exactly what I would take. If there's a trade there, I'm in it. Oh, there you go. Thank you. Yes, so Chen sent this. This is exactly what I sent. Look at this. This is that exact moment that that guy took a trade. He took a trade right here. This is what I sent out. This is not price action I want to see. It's very choppy, very ugly, moving to the downside, and just there's no clarity here. So I wanted to see it break up, come down, and then make this move. Instead, the person that sent his trade took the long right here, right? And you can see my eyes, even at this point, were never even considering a potential trade here. Like, I look at this, I go, fuck no, get me away from that. Anton, did you break your PC when gold ran off? Yeah, bro, that sucked. It did suck. That was a while back, though. I'm over it. And then again. Oh, isn't trading so easy, guys? You just get to sit there and watch your longs do nothing while it runs away from you for years. Hey, Anton, out of curiosity, where did the name Ment come from? Mentor. Using the 2 hour for the bias and the 5 minute for validation, just played with it. That might be the answer I need for the 1 minute. I was using the 1 hour for validation and that was fucking me. Thanks for that. No problem. There you are. If we're not using MAs, when would you start following S&D validations? Would you want to see strong moves, 2.0s, or break long? Well, that's the thing. I'm using them, right? So that's what I want to see. Clearly, that's what I've noticed works best for this system for myself, so that's what I'm using for myself. But those are all things that you just labeled that you could look for, yeah, of course. That's silver. Yeah, silver and gold are like the same. Oh, this is IGSD. This is just a little uglier. Gold's a little cleaner. Watch the rest later. No problem, man. I'll see you. I noticed in the course, most of the time you look at bullish markets. That's because there's not been clear bearish ones. Like UCHF, I just looked at a second ago and said, yeah, it's pretty nice for bearishness, but I need it to come up, make a supply, and then I could start following it here on a lower time frame. Because again, not every market's going to be in a context for a short or a long. Most markets that I'm trading right now are just in good long context. That's it. And remember, JK, I literally released a video in ICI Extras where there was a shorting market only. Was it this one? Yeah. Just so you know, this is short. I flipped it. Look at the numbers here. It goes from 1480 down to 10. This is a flipped market. I just flipped it because I'm used to seeing the market set up longs. So I'm taking shorts through the longing framework. This is a short right here. That's literally a short as you're looking at it. That's another short. Just so you know, look, 1080, now it's at 1050. This is a short. I just flipped the market because I'm used to seeing it on that side of the market. Over leveraging gold as soon as market opens. Hey, man, the bot keeps telling me user not found. Make sure you put in the correct username. Meant, when are coming new videos in your master course? As soon as I can get them out there. Don't forget to mention the disclaimer. It's all good. The disclaimer has been mentioned multiple times. It's in the terms and conditions too. But yes, of course, everything shared is simulated environment only, guys. You should all know and understand that. And most people lose, as we all know. The nice thing about when you miss moves is that there's 100% guarantee that there will be another one. Yep. Meant, are you looking for long on GU? Yeah, I was. And at the moment, it's like gold. It's like same as gold. I need to wait for it to reset. I don't see anything on this at the moment, though. Why are we so zoomed in? Deepest unmitigated area. Does this new demand zone become our invalidation point for a lower time frame longs? Why or why not? Up to you. As you follow, this is all good, all good, all good. So yeah, you can keep following until it starts breaking down, and then you can stop following it. And even at this point that it breaks down, it makes 2 supply zones. So I would stop watching it right there. Aren't GU overall bearish like EU? Nope. I've just had a bearish bias on them, but they're not moving bearish, so I haven't been able to trade them. And now they're starting to move long. So I will follow it long. Right? Take a look. I wanted to see shorts, but they weren't clear, so I've been staying out of these markets completely and missing out on the longs, but that's fine because the price action here was not clean for me. I probably would have taken more losses if I tried to trade it. The price action's getting clear. It's starting to move clearly. The 1 hour, right, is in clear accumulation. There's no reason it can't make a move through this high or come down a little bit and then make a move up. That's what I want to see. There's no reason that the daily at the given moment in accumulation can't make another run on this high and go higher. So right now I've switched over to longs and I'm actually watching for the longs. And this tells the same story. A few quick questions about the Mentifex manager. Once you place a pending limit/stop order, can you click and drag to adjust the entry in SL? Does the trade sizing adjust? Of course not. No. Once you've placed it, then you can move the stop loss, but it's not going to change the lot size because now that's the lot size you've entered or that you're trying to enter. That would make no sense if it changed that. Can you click and drag to move your TP/SL for an activated trade? Yep, you can, and it won't change the lot size as well. But that doesn't have anything to do with the Mentifex Trade Manager. Just so you know, that's just how MetaTrader functions. Finished the course last week. Went through the Webbies in 2 months. Now I'm on to data collection. Holy shit. You're a fast guy. You're a very fast guy, aren't you? Okay. So, funded members, yay. We got that. That was my note. Congratulations again, guys, to all of you. That was beautiful. Demand validation. We spoke a little bit about that today. That's good. We'll skip that. We talked a little bit about the personal stats in relation to just, following rules, taking losses, how beautiful they are, and keeping up the great work. And now we can actually go over my silver trade really quickly for you guys. Because again, my week was really, really boring, just so you guys know. I took a loss on CJ. So I took a loss right here. I took this long. I took it a little bit late. Price began to move. I didn't have really a good reason to break even. Came down. You guys are not going to believe this shit, okay? It came down. It missed my stop loss on MetaTrader. It missed it. Then it came up and missed my take profit by 0.1 pips. Because I was sleeping during this. And then it came and took me out. Oh, fucking amazing. So I took a loss on CJ, which was beautiful. But then silver was like a small win. So silver, kind of same thing. Very clear, right? I spoke about this a second ago with you guys, but bullish market condition. It's moving from this SSE and moving along, but, we never know, when it's going to stop because it's in this range for a long time. I hate big ranges, but again, this is a daily range, which means the lower time frames could still be in context to trade. And seeing as the daily is now above upward sloping MAs, we can easily get a move out of this and keep getting a small move out of this. So I'm happy to potentially watch for that. 1 hour, clearly went through this longer term stage one, entered beautiful markup, reaccumulation, bullish break, markup, and then simply as I'm watching this, it had a deeper kind of flush out, deeper correction. So all good, starts moving long, validates demand. Right. The fuck is this? What did I draw here? Why is this drawn? Was this a daily? Whoops. Or a 4 hour? I don't know why this was drawn, to be perfectly honest with everybody here. Yeah, it's weird stuff. If anything, it should be this. At least that demand zone got validated, and it was part of that range. Price began to move. Jumped to my 15-minute. Again, very clear context. Price is already in accumulation. Reaccumulation, validates the reaccumulation, moves long. Starts setting up this move along the top. Gets really clear, for me at least. I took the long right through here. And price exploded away, and I simply moved my stop loss to under this low as it was exploding. And then price took me out, made a huge run, and then broke even. So I got a small break even off of this at 2.27 or so about 1.1. And that's it. And then the trade stopped me out, and that was my entire week. It was a very, very boring and uneventful week, but we're back at playing sideways. Hopefully we start seeing it keep going sideways now. Maybe we enter a context where I get to sideways out of my own equity curve for a little while here. But yeah, just a very simple trade, nothing from this. I wanted to see this, of course, as you guys know, I wanted to see this go like this and then keep going, but I didn't get that. So now I'm just going to follow up and wait for that same thing to happen here. And then take another and then hope that this one makes its move. But yeah, this cat JPY was so funny. I mean, I wasn't sitting there, so I didn't see it, but there we are. Matt, can you show us how to expand the number of curve trades? Yeah, you just go here, click select, and then increase this to whatever number you want. 200. There you go. Yeah. Matt, would there be a setting on the sentiment where it refines markets on the percentages on intraday and daily in the future? Yep. Like filters, yeah, it will. So yeah, it was a generally very boring week. Nothing much on the markets. For this upcoming week, I'm going to be watching for likely the gold longs, but I need to see a correction first. GU long, same thing. Correction first. US 100's pretty ugly right now. UJ's ugly. GJ's ugly. I'm just going to get those off the list for now. I'm just going to ignore them for a sec. UZCHF actually starting to enter a potentially bearish bias. Well, I mean, it's in a bearish bias, but if it can set up like this, I'd be okay with taking it. So I'm going to keep that on the list for now. The problem with UCHF, I feel like, is it's always a tiny pip. Like if I entered like this trade, look at this. Oh, it's 16 pips. Okay, it's not bad. No, never mind. Okay, UCHF is okay. And then other than that, yeah, I don't see anything else right now. Those are just the main things I'm watching for at the moment. Meant, if I'm following the ICI system, should we start from seminar 100 or 1? I think you should watch everything that's here. I think that you should start with the, like I said, the welcome. Watch this. Read this. You mentioned in a recent Webby that you're thinking about leaving behind the MAs and moving on to something new and better. No. The MAs will always be part. But, yep. Testing another important, pretty fun concept right now, but nothing crazy. Don't worry about that at the moment. MAs are my bread and butter at the moment. So yeah, there will be filters. No, not MACD. Nothing like that. You guys are, no. GU's on your watch list? Yeah, good. Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, we're looking really good here. Alrighty. Bitcoin. Yeah, it's been good for longs. And now it's moving in those longs. Again, like same thing. You should be getting involved here, here, here. And maybe you might get something here, but again, don't be late to the party. Watch the markets before they set up. And yeah, this thing had some great moves. And now it's getting ugly again. There was a good setup here, but now it looks like it's about to fail. So let it reaccumulate, and then yeah, there could be good trades on this again. Best trades on this thing were available here. Losses. Here and here, probably. What do you think about EU? I looked at it for a second. It looks ugly to me. Yeah, it looks unclear. I have no idea what it wants to do. Bullish like GU, but ugly. Kind of bearish too. No idea. I just like GU right now. Looks good for longs, so I'm going to follow that. EU's not on the list. Just take it off. I don't see any reason to watch it right now. Yeah, look at this. Like, where's the consistency? Back and forth, comes down, comes up, comes down. So it's like in distribution or reaccumulation. Who knows? This thing can do anything. Mate says he had a beautiful one on Bitcoin. Yeah, there you go. Good job, dude. Can you look at DXY? Distribution potential. Looks like distribution to me, but uncertain on this one. I think this is more like redistribution. Yeah, I would just wait for this to enter distribution. It looks like it wants to go bearish. But right now I see nothing on it. It's very ugly. I would just follow USD CHF because that's clear. US 100's ugly right now. But bullish. I'm bullish on US 100, but at the moment, yeah, it's getting okay. Yeah, I like the bullishness on it. 1 hour is in potential reaccumulation. 15-minute is in just a huge stage one. So again, same thing. Wait for some MBs, let it start going bullish, and then there's going to be a trade, as always. QQQ is just like US 100, same thing. Odd USD looks like GU, so you can keep following that as you need to. Just a little bit choppier. I'll give it a little bit of time to reset as well, just like GU. GJ is ugly, nothing to touch for me there. UJ is ugly as well, just kind of failing down. So UJ and GJ I'm ignoring. Again, everything, gold longs, GU longs, silver potential longs, UCHF shorts. Where can I buy crypto for the long term? Either with a personal wallet or something like Coinbase or something. I don't know. I think that's more of like an online question kind of thing. Because, well, that's what you want to do with your money and where you want to store it, right? I would do your own research 100% there. Is the first course important also for ICI or just remastered? I don't understand that, JKX. I'm sorry, bud. What do you mean, my good man? I said it time and time again. JKX, please. Welcome video. Read this. That's all I ask right now, okay? You can skip as much stuff as you want. I have no control over you. You can go as far as you want or from the very beginning as you want. The further you go, the more confusing it might be. But if you get it all and you're Bing chilling, then go for it, right? You're gonna be fine. All right, guys. Let's get some more funded members on here. I will be congratulating a few more coming shortly. Congratulations to all of you that have been doing just fucking amazing the last few weeks. And let's continue to have beautiful weeks. Make sure you stay out when the markets are slow. Don't feel like you've lost all edge and all education just because the markets are going to be moving or can be moving in a little bit of a weirder way and not so clear way. It is completely normal. And it's how you deal with these moments that define where you're going to be in the next year, in the next 2 years, in the next 5 years from now. So, thank you all so much. Much love as always. I'll see you all in the trade talks and in the upcoming week. Let's have a beautiful, beautiful trading week, guys, okay? Let's get to it. All right, I'll see you guys.